Welcome to Our Future is Kind, a podcast exploring how we build the future we want to live in, one kind act at a time. I'm your host, Michael G. Neece, president of Our Future is Kind, and your trusted companion as we search out kindness strategies we can use in our everyday lives. Together, as we chase the idea of building a kinder future, we will interview experts in kindness, team building, human motivation, corporate culture building, relationships, plus politicians, artists, and those with a vision for a healthy and kind future, one we all want to live in and deserve to enjoy together. In addition to interviews, we will consider positive depictions of humanity's future in art, literature, the movies, and media. And we will issue kindness challenges each week, give an update about Our Future is Kind, the company, and what it's doing to stay true to its mission. So, let's dive in. While this episode of Our Future is Kind podcast is filled with inspiration, hope, and opportunities for you to help people, please understand there's also some sensitive content. If you are sensitive to events that go on during a natural disaster or human-made disaster, you might want to skip this episode. But if you can get through it, this is a fantastic guest you won't want to miss. Today's guest is Dr. Alison Thompson. She is a global humanitarian volunteer full-time and an incident commander running large refugee camps, field hospitals, and resilience hubs in natural and man-made disasters around the world for the past 25 years, including the Syrian, Afghan, Venezuelan, and Ukraine refugee crises. Dr. Thompson's full-time volunteer work started as a first responder at the September 11th, 2001 attacks in New York City. But rather than read the amazing credentials that comes along with this even more amazing guest, I just want to welcome you to the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and have a little conversation.
Yeah, we're so glad that you were able to squeeze us in. I know that you are full-time trying to help humanity, and so just squeezing us in at all, we really appreciate.
Thank you. You know what, when we first started this on September 11th, there was one disaster around the world and all the different nonprofits and people would go, you know. But Space Force now records every 3 to 4 days is $1 billion disaster. So the front line are absolutely exhausted, all the first responders. So the message is that all civilians need to step up and just do their part on a computer or whatever the job is. There's something for everyone. And our motto is everyone's needed. But it's really out of control. And usually January we don't have disasters, and we're in the LA fire disasters out there, and it's been so horrific. Before that, North Carolina disaster, one of our biggest US disasters. So this is out of control, like it's accelerated like 10,000%. So the message is we just all got to do something.
Well, it's amazing that you can keep up with it. It sounds like you have teams at every catastrophe site, at every disaster zone in the world. Is that accurate?
We used to be at every single disaster and man-made disaster because there's 100 million refugees on the walk. But now it's happening in every direction, every 3-4 days. So we just have to choose which ones to go to now. And I'm finding that as I arrive, that a lot of the orgs that usually there aren't there because they're at the other ones. So it's just out of control. So we're just choosing which one to go to. And we are focusing on this side of the world as well. There's a lot of problems in America. And also the Caribbean and Central South America. So we're trying to choose more projects closer to home.
Right. I watched your TED Talk and was so moved by your story of how you got into this work. I was wondering if you could just share with our audience just a little nugget of why do you do this work?
Oh, boy. Well, September 11th happened, and I was living my little merry life up in New York City and kind of jet-setting around and doing stuff. And then that was a big day. It was a really big day that changed the direction of my life because nothing else made sense. You know, I put my rollerblades on, I had a little medical kit, and I just rollerbladed as fast as I could down there, you know, closer through red lights and just getting closer and closer. And then when I got in there, I was just helping someone with some CPR, and some others came and helped and carried him off. And then I went in a little deeper, and then I heard a great rumbling, and then above me was the North Tower. mushrooming down towards me. So I just rollerbladed for my life up the street and dived under a car. So I ended up living in the streets down there for the first week, and then joined with an org and stayed down there for 9 months. Just nothing else made sense. You know, we had a family in a city down there of volunteers, and then we go uptown and there'd be restaurants and cars and buzzing about, but nothing made sense after that day. And I committed myself after that to becoming a full-time humanitarian. I didn't really know where the journey was going to lead, but I knew I had love in me for people, and I knew I could do something, you know. Everyone goes, oh, I couldn't do that. But I'm really an average, everyday girl next door. I just say I live down the street a little further in a tent. But what I can do, I believe anyone can do. And it's showing, first of all, love, hugging everyone. During COVID, we couldn't really hug people. That was a hard challenge. But it's just spreading the love. And the more I see the darkness in the world, more I see also the light in the world, and it does win in the end. The love does win in the end. So I just go full steam ahead with that message and the message of how everyone's needed.
Well, you bring light in situations where there's considerable darkness, where there may be a lack of hope. How do you feel when you first enter an area that has not yet had a response, or has only had a very light response?
I think because I grew up, I had a preacher father, and my parents were missionaries. I grew up in developing countries, in jungles and all over, and places that were destroyed. So when I land in a disaster and everything is destroyed, I feel peace. I feel this real peace, and I feel like, well, everything is bad and everything's gone, but I have something to give, and that is the love for people. And we also bring these little lights. They're really cool little lights. It's hard to see it in the day.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's got red, disco, SOS code, and there's light. So when it is dark, besides doing the rescue, medical and things, we give them the lights straight away. They fold down flat in your pocket. And that gives a little joy. And people the kids start screaming, we got light, we're safe. You know, it's unusual. It kind of feels like playing Santa Claus. But these solar lights are really integral for that first mission in, because at least gives them a little bit of safety. And in Haiti, when we give it to the women, they say, they put it in their huts at night because it deters the rapists who will go on to another dark hut. So there's many different things. We're bringing the light within ourselves, but also the actual physical solar light has been just like playing Santa Claus.
So literally bringing light with you. I think that's just so fun that it's literal as well as figurative. Yeah. Why do this work? I mean, there are so many of us who sit around in whatever jobs we have. We feel a little bad when we read the news, and we wish that there was something that could be done. Maybe we log on to some sort of charitable site and we donate something, but then we go back to scrolling our phones. Why not just do that?
I'm a big fan of a donation of time rather than the money. Yes, we do need the money, but it's hard to explain, but I feel like one of the happiest people in the world. And it's not on this outside, everyone's looking for the Instagram look, but it fills you up deep inside. And that spills out into your other relationships with boyfriends, husbands, whatever. And also your friendship with friends and in your business and everything. So it really is about feeling this deep inside and spilling over. And I get so much joy out of it. It's probably the best job I've ever had in my life, and I've had a lot of different types of jobs that I've been led into, but all the jobs that I've done in my whole life led to this ultimate position of humanitarian and all the different skills we can use along the way. And I don't want to go back to anything else, because this is just, the world needs this right now and for the future, and it needed it in the past. And I just want to show the roadmap of how other people can do like what I'm doing. Maybe it's not full time, but it's a large part of your time that maybe you're filling up watching Netflix movies every night or whatever you're doing, you know, because we're wasting a lot of time, and we're only here 80 years, if that, you know, or a little bit more, a little bit less. We can go at any time. So I'm just filled with joy and love, and I want to spread that. You know, I met Mother Teresa when I was younger, and she said the reason why she got down with the lepers in the street was because she just wanted to beam that light for just one moment in their life. It might have been the first time they've ever been loved, and the last time. She wanted them to experience that before they died. So for me, it's not about even pushing any religion on anyone. It's, you know, I believe in a higher power, and I believe that we're all equal. And it's just about coming together, and our mission is love in action, just loving everybody, no matter who you are, what you are, and as we're seeing, the hatred grow around our country. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm glad that you brought up the fact that we're having, the difficulties in our country, because there are those who might say, well, if I go to a disaster site, I might start asking them what is their political preference before I help them. It doesn't sound like that would even occur to you to do.
No. So when we get to a disaster, yes, it is so bad and everything's gone and people lost everything. But it's like a utopia. In those first 3 or 4 months, everyone comes together. There's no red or blue politics or anything. And we don't even ask that, and we don't even begin to see that. It's just everyone working together as humans coming together, and it's really beautiful. And then I get back home and then I hear the news and all the troubles going on in the country and the world. And I'm like, oh, I just want to be back in the disaster. And it's not an adrenaline thing. It's just this time of beauty and utopia of humans helping each other. And I've seen out in the fires, and even in North Carolina, I saw, say it would be a farmer that has a persuasion of one way in politics, but then there was a bunch of Mexican immigrants that were helping him in the farm, and they worked their guts out, clearing like 10 foot of mud and all this stuff, and they came together and hugged in unison, and that's what it's about. So I want to stay in that world. That's the world I'm trying to bring over to the bigger world.
Right. Well, it's those moments, I think, that you bring with you, and that everybody, they feel that need, right? They feel that absolute desertion by any other forces other than those that are immediately available to them.
Yeah, and sometimes they're being so strong for their family members or their kids or whatever. So I have this little trick I do with my hug. I give them a big hug, but I don't let go. And the usual when you hug someone and you both let go, I don't let go and you wait for it. 1, 2, 3, and then you feel them sink in your arms, and they start crying, or they're just letting out the angst they've had of the last week or 2 weeks because of the disaster of losing everything, and you just feel them settle in. And that's my favorite place to be, because as I said in my TED talk, it's like there's two strangers coming together, a volunteer and a refugee or a fire victim or whatever, and there's no hate or discrimination or anything, and we're just these strangers hugging, and it's really the most pure form of unconditional love that I've ever felt. And I want that for others to feel that too. And it's really real, and it's very true. So you can have that too.
I love that. Yeah. I come from a background where I've studied a lot of astronomy, and I used to present shows in planetariums. So we would point out where the stars are and where the planets are and what phase the moon is and that sort of thing. And it always occurs to me that we're lucky to have life at all.
Yeah.
But the real, genuine treasure that we have is each other. I mean, to have life at all is great, but it's that comfort that comes with other human beings on the side of this space rock that's going around the sun. It's unbelievable that we have this, and some people overlook it all the time.
Yeah. It's about coming together, and it's an easy thing to do, and it's not an easy thing to do. But once you do it and you cross that line, it's kind of like being in a plane, and you have to put your safety belt on, and you're fixed here and that. And the safety belt is kind of like fear. And then if you imagine yourself going in outer space, and then you let go of the safety belt and you're just floating through space, that's how it kind of feels for me. And I want other people to feel that. It's like that 4-letter word of fear has to be placed with the 4-letter word of love. And, it sounds antiquated, love, 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 but love needs to be rebranded, because it's just, there's so much to offer.
It's wonderful. It's so beautiful. Our Future is Kind is a podcast that thinks about what our future of humanity should look like, and what are the actions that it takes to get us there. And that's one of the reasons why we invited you onto the show, is to do a little bit of this mind experiment with us. So if you'll permit, I want you to envision with me, Dr. Thompson, that in 2125, and so here's what I'm going to ask you. Pretend that we've done everything right for those last 100 years. We've done all the right things. We've embraced each other. We've helped each other. We've supported each other in all the best ways. In 2125, what does it look like? Who's there? What are you looking for?
Interesting. I think women are in charge.
Okay.
I love men and women, and there's great ones on both sides. I feel like the feminine energy has risen by then. I've just come back from the Ukraine war for a few years and the front lines, and it's like, seems to be all men blowing up each other and bombing and shooting and all this stuff. So I believe that this feminine energy is going to be there in the 21st century. I believe the United States will be broken up. In the future. I actually just finished writing an animation about it. It's set in the future, and all the states have broken up, and there's. But what do I see? I see females in charge. It's hard to say. It can be two different ways, depending on what we do now in our world now to create that future.
Well, if we're doing all the right things.
Oh, we're doing all the right things.
All the best possible things.
Well, I see a sustainable future if we're doing it right, from sustainable building materials to really embracing that the earth is part of us and nature is part of us and the environment. What we've been doing around the world is so tragic with the pollution and just men and women getting in the way of progress for the environment and just putting cement everywhere and everything. I don't know how to answer this one.
Well, let me ask you the other part of it.
Okay.
So it's an ideal utopian state. We've made it. We did great. Okay. What did we do? What are those courageous acts that it's going to take? What are those kind acts that it will take to build that future?
Well, the first things I see is humanity having to come together. We all popped out of a different mother with different colors and shapes and sizes, but we're all human. No one is above another person, So we have to come to recognize that. Otherwise, the wars will still keep going on. We have to recognize, the environment. We have to recognize what leaders are going to be put in place. Is it just about power and greed, or is it really about caring for each other? And then the laws will slip into place as well, and then even the courts will have people like that are open to all people and things like that. And it'll be a much kinder place. People will be healed. A lot of these diseases are from stress and from not being loved and angst and all sorts of abuse they've had in their childhood or whatever. I deal in gender-based violence, and I've interviewed over 20,000 women in that, and from their abuse of when they were 6, and that really has affected them their whole life. So that won't be there anymore. From diseases to all sorts of things. I'm probably going to lie in bed tonight and think of 100 better answers, but they were just popping out of my head just like that.
When we do part 2 and I invite you back in a few months, you'll have that answer. It'll be great.
I will. Just a little tired right now.
Yeah, no, you are lifting a lot on your shoulders every day, and we thank you for it.
Yeah.
I love what you said earlier about how it doesn't matter what the two strangers are looking like, what their backgrounds are, what their political flavors are, or anything else. In that moment where there is disaster, there is connection. I imagine that must be incredibly inspiring. But I want to know, as you give inspiration to the different places where you help rescue people, and you give inspiration to the rest of us as we learn how to do that, what are the things that inspire you? You have those moments. Are those it? Are there other things that you bring with you that just keep you pumped up and excited about what you do?
Interesting. Being in the moment. I've learned to be present. I get home from all these disasters, and I'm a body collector, so I collect a lot of bodies. So what I do is I'm living in the present. Yes, yesterday I was collecting some bodies or with a rape victim, but tonight I'm with my girlfriends having Thai food. Tomorrow I'm back in the scene doing this or hugging people or going through a burnt house. But it's just being present in every moment, not thinking of all the things in the past. That's gone. That's over. start a new blank page. You can write your own movie, you know, let's go forward. And then not too far in the future either, you know, just being really present. I do have a faith in a higher power, so that gives me a strength. And it's not because I have bad things in my life or anything. It's just I've had a lot of experiences with that, and kind of not out-of-body experiences, but different experiences. Just that strength. I think my mother taught me about unconditional love. And, you know, I'm out there in the very front lines, so I see the best of the best in people, and I see the very worst. And I've seen love win in the end, and I've seen it strongly. You know, in 2004 tsunami in Sri Lanka, it was a very, very, how do I explain? It was a very harsh environment, you know, a lot of murderers and things like that in this village. And, you know, after they kept blaming us for many things. They thought we had the billions of dollars of aid money, and there's no one helping them. So they're threatening us. But then after a few years, you know, we just kept giving them love, and then they got down on their knees and they said, please forgive us, you know, and I saw love win. It took quite a few years, but so that keeps me going, and the unconditional love to share with others, the higher power. But yeah, I think that's it, and just staying present. That's my answer.
I love it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you get all of those in very large doses.
Yeah. And when I get home, my dog fills me up with love again. Because I get home and I feel like a tub of toothpaste that's all squeezed out to the very end. And my friends call me with problems. I'm like, look, I'm all squeezed out right now. I just need to rest for a few days or a week. And then my dog just jumps all over me and fills me up with love again. And then I'm ready to go again. So that's another little secret. He's like my little superhero, but he doesn't wear a cape.
Well, our little four-legged family members really do a great service for us as well, don't they?
It's so unconditional love. I wish everyone could have an animal in their life.
You mentioned earlier, animal rescue is a big piece of doing, you know, disaster relief. Can you tell us a little bit about how that gets coordinated, and maybe where people can help, you know, donate if they want to help pets and animals?
Yeah, we've just, you know, we've always touching on the animals in different disasters and helping here and there, but we've really escalated it to really wanting to be a major part of human rescue and animal rescue. And we have this wonderful lady, Lisa, out in LA, and she evacuated with 12 disabled dogs in a little tiny car with even one pit bull in her lap and her daughter next to her and all these dogs and that. And so she really inspired me too to step up. So all the funds we raised for this LA fire disaster, we're going to do some music concerts around in New York, Connecticut, Nashville, Austin, and that. So over the next few months, so half of those donations are going to the animal causes, and Lisa knows all the different ones. And just myself being out in disasters, you know, we start operating on the animals too, and trying to find them homes and that, because they're just as important to us as well.
Absolutely. You have an audience here. You have people who are hopefully taking rapid notes. But I want you to speak directly to them for a minute. What if they feel intimidated about suddenly becoming a full-time humanitarian volunteer? How do they do that, first of all? But if there's something a little bit easier, how do they do that? What are the ways they can get involved?
So when I speak at places, everyone's like, oh, can we join Third Wave Volunteers? And I'm like, you can, but the thing is, you can start your own thing. You know, like when we were in Chicago, there weren't any inner city gardens, and all the kids were running around, you know, in the concrete steel. So I said, why don't you just try to start up a little garden? It might be 2 of your friends from school, you know, and you just start small in the little area, but it always ends up growing and growing to something much bigger. And then more friends join in. So I say, just think of a problem in your town or your area that you want to do something about, and then just do it. Think of a solution. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I surround myself with all the experts to get stuff done. But the solution, there's that, we could do that. Hey, my friends, you want to join me? And it really does grow larger and larger. So you can start your own thing. And it mightn't be full time. It might be just on the weekends or whatever. But then it starts to grow and grow. And you actually may end up starting your own nonprofit. You know, you just apply for it and you get some paperwork. And then you can start raising money under the nonprofit. And it always grows much bigger. But you can't, there's so many problems in the world. You've got to start somewhere. So you just have to think, I love animals, or I love children, or I love gardening or whatever, and then choose that, something that you're really passionate about, and then the rest just follows. You know, some of your friends will join in. That's what I say to do. You don't have to just spurt out into full-time humanitarian. You know, it's been a tough journey, not having a salary in 24 years. I've written a few books and had a few speaking engagements and that help. But I just learned that, you know, if you learn to give away your last $10 to the old lady that needed new glasses or some heart medicine, you know, I've just learned to give it and trust the universe. And then the universe opens up, and then someone will come by with $100 donation and like, or something like that. And it's just like, it's like magic. So I've learned the magic of the universe, and that's what I'm sticking with.
And what if somebody comes to you and says, I want to help, but I have no power. I have no capabilities. I don't know anything.
Well, I say our motto is everyone's needed, but the second line, which I hardly say, is no skills required. Because if you're hugging someone or you're handing out water, and volunteers are very scared at first, especially when we do overseas missions, and I'm like, get your plane ticket, fly over there, spend a day or two on the ground. If you don't like it, jump on your plane ticket home and go play golf or whatever you do. You know, 1 or 2 days out of your life. But no one ever leaves. I've had thousands, tens of thousands of volunteers over all the years. And I see them quietly. They say, I have no skills. And then you see them out doing art therapy with kids while the parents are trying to work out what they're going to do with no house, you know, or swimming lessons. In the Syrian crisis, when we were rescuing 10,000 people a day, the most important job was making the Nutella sandwiches. And when all the kids would arrive wet from the boats, we'd put the males over there and the females over there and helping them get changed into clothes. And they were major skills that were needed. Peeling oranges or cooking for the volunteers or cooking for the refugees. It's just a place for everyone. And even if you're at home and disabled or whatever, and you've got a lot of kids and you cannot leave, this computer is the key. We do all the disasters on social media this day. So just reposting our efforts gets it out to a larger audience, and that one friend may just end up donating something or even say, hey, I want to join you and volunteer, you know. So it's like this spider web, and it's all done on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all of those things, and WhatsApp, you know. So just spread the news, and that's enough.
So anybody who's listening or watching this podcast right now, I encourage you to go online. I encourage you to go find Dr. Alison Thompson, Third Wave Volunteers, and then also find the more local things where you may be able to make that difference that Dr. Thompson was just talking about. Like, you know, how do you grow beans in the inner city? Where do you get your soil to make that little garden that she was talking about?
Yeah. There's so much to be done. It's exciting. And, you know, this could be the first day of your life. I didn't start till in my late 30s, 40s, you know, so there's so much time left, and you can just start now, and then it'll change your life forever.
What were you doing? Yeah. What were you doing? Sorry to interrupt. What were you doing before? I mean, you went out there to help, but what were you leaving behind?
Well, originally I was nursing. And then I was a math teacher for 8 years. And then I was investment banker on Wall Street for, I think it was like 4 or 5 years. And then I left that, and then I wanted to go to film school, NYU Film School, because I loved photography. And, you know, I don't have ADD, which I keep jumping. Just new doors would open and I would take the road. And then I was doing, you know, making some films and everything. And then the World Trade Center happened. And then a lot of my 64 of my friends were killed. 23 of my close friends were killed in the World Trade Center. So nothing else made sense, and I had to think about it. And then the first big one that happened after that was the 2004 tsunami. So all these jobs I've had throughout my life really came into play in the 2004 tsunami, because I could create a field hospital and help treat patients, that I could sit outside with the kids and teach them. I could video what's happening in the destruction and send it back to my Wall Street friends to try to raise money. So it was all those little skills that added up to become the humanitarian that I am today. And it's really about just utilizing all those skills since you popped out of your mama, you know. And I love it. I just love it. I'm going to keep going till I'm 104. Then I'm going to retire, and I'm going to go to a nice spa and relax. Yeah.
Well,
that's my motto.
It sounds like you're going to do a lot of good in addition to the good you've already done. Are there any other pieces of wisdom that you'd want to impart to our audience? And how can they follow you and find out how to support you better?
Wear sunscreen. I've learned that. Always check your boots for cockroaches before you put them on, or little mice or rats, because I've always done those things. Our motto is common sense, good sense of humor out in the field, and pretty much don't be an asshole. That's our 3 mottos to come out, because everything changes when you're in the field, and you might have 8 things planned and get 1 thing done. So you just got to be really flexible. And just have an open heart. You may have been closed all your life, but it's time to open your heart and try being kind to people. If someone tells you to F off, you could just look at them and say, well, I love you, and I'm giving you love. Sometimes it pisses them off a bit more, but there's ways to deal with the situations. And I've learned many things that I could talk to for the next 8 hours about. But if you want to learn more, go to thirdwavevolunteers.org. And you can sign up to volunteer, or you could just send me an email and chat with me, or anything, because we're waiting for you. And we really are, the front line is really exhausted, so we need a lot of fresh new blood. And I'm trying to inspire the Gen Z generation. We've had a lot of suicides, and the kids are very upset about their future because of all these things that are going on with the growing disasters and wars and hatred and everything. But there is a spot for you, if that's you. Just join us, and we'll helpfully bring you joy, happiness, kindness, and everything that we're all supposed to be and that we were all originally born for. I have this saying, I'm not asking you to go shave your head and chant on a hill, but imagine a world where everybody does their part, that the karma banks are overflowing with blue chip stocks of compassion, and we're all billionaires on the inside. And I think that's the way it was meant to be.
I love that. And that gives a sense of hope to any of the younger people who are watching who feel what Dr. Thompson is talking about. You feel like your future is at risk and things are broken. Well, it sounds like she's just giving you that lifeline to some very deep meaning and some great joy.
The service to others is a really high-level soul work, and we can all do it together. And you don't have to have any money. Like, I never have any money. And most of our volunteers are poorer volunteers, but that doesn't stop us. There's always a way, and we find the way.
Well, Dr. Thompson, thank you so much for joining us on our Future is Kind podcast. Really appreciate you giving us this sense of hope and building that kinder future.
Thank you.
This episode's Kindness Challenge. Go to thirdwavevolunteers.org and find out how you can amplify efforts helping families, businesses, and even pets affected by disasters across the globe. Try something a bit more local. Fill a local need. Dr. Thompson mentioned growing a community garden or finding another need to fill in your community. Try Community Toolbox to identify a local need, learn the skills, find allies to help, and get started today. Follow the link in the show notes. Want to stay inspired in the face of great danger and difficulty? Dr. Thompson recommends staying present. Each moment is a fresh start. She also says, let love, not fear, guide your next move. Also, find joy in service, whether in person or online. And start where you are, then let it grow. One of the books by Dr. Thompson that you may want to check out is called The Third Wave, A Volunteer Story. Check it out on Amazon. Look for the link in the show notes. Thanks again for listening to our Future is Kind podcast, a podcast in search of a kinder future. Go out there and do something kind.